Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started, everyone. Good afternoon and welcome to the NINDS HEAL Biomarker webinar. We will start off with our presentation and our slides, followed by the questions and answers. Please submit your questions only in the chat section below, and they will be answered at the end of the presentation. Please remain muted for the duration of the presentation. This presentation will be recorded and placed on our YouTube page. I will be sending that link along with the presentation slides to everyone that has registered. I will now turn it over to Ram. Thank you.
Thank you, Rakanda. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining the HEAL Biomarker webinar. I'm going to go off the camera and then I'm going to switch to the presentation mode. Can you all see the presentation mode?
Yes, good to go.
Good to go. Okay. I cannot see anything on my Zoom here, so I am relying on you guys. Okay. So today's webinar will be focused on the RFA development and validation of remote or patient wearable device derived objective biosignatures or functional assessment to monitor pain for use as endpoints in clinical trials. So helping to end addiction for long-term initiative, or called as NIH HEAL initiative, is a trans-NIH effort to improve prevention and treatment for opioid misuse and addiction and to enhance pain management. HEAL has over more than 31 distinct programs, and these programs are led by most NIH institutes, centers, and offices. The HEAL Biomarker Program is led by the Division of Translational Research, National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke, and this slide shows the team that involved in the HEAL Biomarker Program. So I am Ram, and I function as the program director, and the program is ably supported by Dr. Silju and Ms. Melody. The HEAL Biomarker Program goals, the goal of this program is mainly to develop objective biomarkers and endpoints that facilitates the discovery of new non-addictive treatments for pain. The program is open to projects at 3 key stages of the biomarker development, as you see here in the slide. Those are discovery, analytical validation, and clinical validation. And the ultimate goal is to get the FDA qualification. In the discovery phase, project focus on identifying biomarkers, defining the desired outcomes, developing detection methods, and evaluating the suitability of the biomarkers for their intended purpose. And during the analytical validation, projects establish the performance characteristics of biomarker detection methods. And the clinical validation phase, a large-scale prospective clinical studies are conducted to determine clinical sensitivity, specificity, and positive predictive value and negative predictive value classifiers or predictors for the context of biomarker use. This can eventually lead to the qualification process by FDA. The next slide is an overview of the diversity of the biomarker program, highlighting ongoing projects on discovering and developing biomarkers for different pain conditions. And you can see in the slide that there are several pain conditions, including post-traumatic headache, neuropathy, back pain, pancreatic, ocular pain, sickle cell pain, and chemotherapy-induced pain, etc. And these projects employ various detection modalities, which can encompass single detection methods or multimodal approaches incorporating machine learning and AI. The categories of biomarkers reflect the program's comprehensive across. So we have diagnostic, prognostic, predictive, and response monitoring biomarkers also. So it is important to note that in these studies, response and predictive biomarkers, both pharmacological and non-pharmacological approaches, such as mindfulness therapies, are also utilized. To emphasize, the biomarker program is dedicated identified as lacking is the development of digital biomarkers, objective signatures or functional assessment for the remote monitoring of pain, especially for the use as endpoints in clinical trials. To address this need, we have issued this Notice of Opportunity or NOFO to invite applications for projects aimed at developing and validating objective biosignatures or functional assessment derived from remote or patient wearable devices for the purpose of monitoring pain in clinical trials. This NOFO offers a phase award structure, a UG3 UH3 mechanism, and the deadline for receipt of this application is January 30th, 2024. So let's review some general information about this phase mechanism. And the UG3, also known as phase 1, can have duration of 1 to 3 years with funding up to 500,000 in direct cost per year. And depending on the project's readiness to move to phase 2, you can request either 2 years or 3 years of UG3 or even 1 year of UG3. The length of phase 2, known as UH3, can also vary from 1 to 3 years. However, it is important to note that the combined total length of UG3 and UH3 should not exceed 5 years. The maximum allowable direct cost for UH3 phase is 1.5 million per year. In this phase mechanism, which is also a cooperative agreement, the NIH will annually monitor project progress by assessing whether the agreed upon milestone have been met. In the event of any barriers or challenges faced by the project, the NIH will engage in discussion with the investigator team to address and rectify these issues. To facilitate the transition from UG3 phase to UH3 phase, the project must successfully meet predetermined go or no-go milestones. The transition reviews will be conducted by program officials considering milestone achievement, project feasibility, funding availability, and alignment with HEAL program priorities. When discussing milestone, it is essential to differentiate between effective and ineffective ones. Effective milestone for the UG3 phase should be specific and quantitative to gauge the success of the phase and guide the transition decision to the UH3 phase. This milestone must be well defined, quantifiable, and scientifically justified. The NIH program officer will engage in discussion with the applicant regarding the proposed milestones. Here in this slide, there are some examples given. For example, while the enrollment and recruitment accomplishment can be considered milestones, simply stating that enrollment and recruitment will be completed by the end of the UG3 phase is not an acceptable milestone. Instead, a milestone should be specific and quantitatively defined. For instance, 1,200 subjects will be enrolled by the second year of UG3 phase, with 70% enrolled during the first year and 30% during the second year, in line with the power of 85% and a p-value of less than 0.05, is an acceptable milestone because here we have put the quantitative values. Similarly, rather than broadly mentioning the SOP or the protocol development, milestones should specify the exact protocol and when it will be achieved. An acceptable milestone could be IRB approved clinical protocol ready by quarter 1 or year 1, rather than simply saying SOP and protocol development. Another example pertains to assay reproducibility. An acceptable milestone should outline how many times the assay will be repeated, where it will be conducted, and incorporate other quantitative factors such as intra and inter-coefficient variation. This slide serves as a recap of the potential no-go milestones. However, as discussed in the previous slide, it is crucial that all of these milestones are well-defined, quantifiable, and scientifically justified in order to consider as acceptable. So you can list study planning and team coordination, metrics for clinical enrollment have met, and the evidence that the quality assurance parameters for sample collection or detection method performance have met, the desired magnitude and reliability of the association between the biomarker response to an intervention in the preliminary studies, desired precision, accuracy, and dynamic range of the biomarker detection method, initial prediction accuracy of the biomarker signature for response to the therapy. Next slide. This slide provides an overview of the necessary steps for the transition process. To complete the UG3 phase, you should submit the RRPs for the annual reports following the guidelines outlined in your notice of award using the ERA system. These reports must receive approval from the program officer each year. Before officially applying for the transition to UH3, there will be a milestone discussion between the PI team and the NIH team. If the team is satisfied, then the milestones have met. You should proceed by following the instruction in your notice of award, which will include using specified forms for the transition application. Once the NIH receives the application, then it will undergo a review and approval by the program and the HEAL and the NIH leadership, and the decision will be communicated to the principal investigator. As now we have reviewed the grant mechanism, let's shift our gears and focus on some scientific aspect and ensure that everyone is going to be on the same page. This slide provides definition for biomarkers, clinical outcome assessment, and clinical endpoints. Clinical outcome assessments are measures used to assess a patient's symptom, overall mental state, or impact of a disease or condition on the patient's functioning. Clinical endpoints are clinically meaningful measures that gauge how a patient feels, function, or survive. A biomarker is a characteristic that is objectively measured and evaluated to indicate normal biological process, pathogenic process, or the response to a therapeutic agent. With this definition in mind, the next slide will dwell into how these measures are now defined when assessed digitally, because we are going to talk about the digital endpoints. So the digital health technologies are those utilize computing platforms, connectivity, software, and sensors for healthcare and related purpose. Clinical outcome measure a patient's well-being, functioning, or survival. These COAs include patient-reported outcomes, observer-reported outcomes, clinician-reported outcomes, and performance outcome or the functional outcome. Again, the biomarker is a measurable indicator of a biological or pathological process or response to an intervention, and the digital biomarker is defined here as a biological process and performance or functional behavioral assessment, which can be monitored by the digital assessment. It can incorporate data like heart rate or movement measurements. Digital endpoint is a precisely defined variable derived from digital measurements, which can be a clinical outcome assessment. But that should be a clinical relevant established de novo or a biomarker. Again, that biomarker should be a reliable relationship with existing clinical outcome. So this can be developed into a digital endpoint, which is more relevant to this RFA. So concept of interest reflects the aspect of an individual state or experience that the assessment aims to indicate or reflect, while the context of use describes how the biomarker is used and its purpose, and includes biomarker category, modality, method of detection, clinical population characteristic, and unmet needs. So please pay to this concept of interest and concept of use, because finally you may want to include this in your application, how the digital endpoint that you are proposing have been in the context of use and the context of interest. So this slide highlights the significance of this notice of funding opportunity in the context of pain management. The field of healthcare is currently witnessing a rapid growth in remote and wearable device technologies, which offer promising potential for enhancing clinical trials. According to FDA, the endpoints are defined as biosignatures that measure physiological parameters and digital performance outcomes. Wearable devices with a capacity to provide more dependable measurements of patient outcomes, detection of behavioral and psychological data, and the creation of digital biosignature endpoints have the potential to significantly improve clinical trial design, patient selection, and personalized interventions. So this NOFO aims to support the development of objective biosignatures and functional assessment derived from remote or wearable devices. The primary objective of this initiative is facilitating the advancement of digital endpoints for pain assessment through utilization of remote or wearable devices. The RFA focus lies in conducting clinical research, utilizing existing devices, that's so important here, for the identification and validation of novel measurement techniques for pain assessment. The endpoints under consideration are biosignatures obtained from functional and physiological assessment. This initiative allows for a flexible approach, permitting researchers to focus on specific pain conditions or to include multiple pain conditions in the study. The initiative encouraged the formation of teams by multiple principal investigators who represent relevant pain conditions and possess clinical networks and expertise in fields of digital technology, data analysis, and statistical methods. The emphasis here is to foster diversity both in terms of scientific perspectives and team coordination to foster innovation and inclusivity. These groups are established to coordinate activities related to clinical trials, sample data collection, technology development, and data analysis. The initiative advocates for the inclusion of individuals with personal experience of pain to provide valuable insights. The overarching objective is to develop algorithms and software that enable the creation of sensitive and objective digital endpoints with clinical utility. So the application entry criteria, the endpoints here should be, as we discussed earlier, biosignatures obtained from functional and physiological assessment and captured by remote or wearable devices. And you can include a single pain condition or several pain conditions. And there should be a strong biological rationale and strong clinical rationale and the working hypothesis regarding context of use, which could be tested in the UG3 phase. And the measures should reflect a meaningful concept of interest in a regulatory context with a specific context of use. And then there should be a clear explanation of how digital biosignatures will be used in the clinical trial. It should be a multi-PI team organization is encouraged, as well as the knowledge and technology proficiency of the research team should be clearly proposed. So that's the responsive application entry criteria. So this is the non-responsive applications. So studies which are solely focused on device development, or those have been developed to device only rather than validating the data and analysis and interpretation for those devices. The studies only focus on patient-reported outcomes, observer-reported outcomes, or clinician-reported outcome rather than utilizing those data for developing digital endpoints or functional assessments. And the natural history studies that aim to understand disease pathology, genetic mechanism, or epigenetic mechanism, but do not include the verification and validation of digital endpoints or functional assessments. And the studies focus on therapeutic or behavioral interventions only that aim to develop or test therapeutic behavioral interventions for assessing safety or efficacy. And then the incomplete applications as outlined by the RFA, if any component is missing, that will be also a non-responsive application. An application that do not include annual UG3 or UH3 go and no-go milestones. And please note that non-responsive application will be administratively withdrawn and won't be allowed for the review. So under the research objective, the RFA specifically outlines some activities that you could be able to use. So first, if you take the UG3 phase activities, it should use for proof of concept testing, select outcome assessment, digital tech, and the patient population, where you can evaluate the digital health tech factors for usability, reliability, cost, scalability, and compatibility. And you can choose wearable device and algorithms, identify factors affecting measurement precision and accuracy, optimize option for measurement algorithms, select digital endpoints for measuring meaningful outcomes, determine if endpoints relate to the pain condition that you are proposing to study, verify and validate pilot studies comparing digital measurements to the gold standards that are currently available. Prepare for subsequent validation study, recruitment, and patient representation and retention in UH3, and the user feedback and regulatory consultation. And then UH3 phase preparation such as outreach and collaboration could be involved in the UG3 studies too. Those activities can involve develop user-informed consent and training materials, involve individuals with lived experience and minority populations, initiate outreach and collaboration with diverse communities, focus on racial and ethnic minorities, rural population, and limited English proficiency. And please note that this RFA calls for inclusion of a lived experience individuals in your team too. That's a mandatory and it will be reviewed too. Under the UH3 phase activities, longitudinal prospective clinical studies can be done to do the validation of measurement in the context of use. Those could include validate digital endpoints in clinical studies, measure statistical relationship with established biomarkers, clinical assessment, and quality of life metrics, evaluate the reliability for monitoring remote digital biosignatures, focus on minority health and NIH designated population with pain disparities, assess response to therapeutic or behavioral interventions, and consider also submitting a letter of intent to the FDA biomarker or the qualification program. So under the specific aim, so when you write the specific aim page, this should be included mainly. Contextualize the study, highlighting the biological research rationale for digital endpoints or assessment, and emphasize the importance and unmet need, and clearly state specific objectives and technical questions for developing and validating the digital endpoints. For the UG3, describe the main goals of the study, address technical questions for developing and validating the endpoints, describe how these digital endpoints can advance clinical trials for pain conditions, explain their utility as primary or secondary endpoints in therapeutic development, interventions, comparative studies, and also highlight the role of verification and validation in regulatory approval and software dissemination. Under the significance and approach, the significance and the clinical impact should be clearly outlined, explaining the necessity of digital endpoints and assessment for pain conditions in the clinical trials, emphasizing their potential as primary or secondary endpoints to advance therapeutic interventions, and also describing how validation studies will support the regulatory approval and software dissemination. Under the UG3 phase, select the digital measurement for pain and specify the health aspect of the interest, define the concept of interest, evaluate various digital health technologies for usability, reliability, cost, and scalability, verify and validate digital measures against established standards, identify factors for measurement of precision, define the study population for endpoint development, develop user-informed consent and training materials, initiate outreach and collaboration with health disparity population. Under the UH3, define a measurable improvement or outcome relevant to patient, assess the relevant sensitivity, content, validity of the measure, conduct a longitudinal study to evaluate relationship between digital assessment and establish metrics, assess responsiveness, test retest reliability, validity, and sensitivity. Evaluate the response of digital assessment to interventions. Examine the statistical relationship between digital measurements and established biomarkers, and submit a letter of intent to the FDA biomarker or the qualification program. So this should be clearly outlined in your approach, and mainly I want to emphasize that there should be some evidence how you are going to take this further to reach the patient population. So considering as one of the milestones in your UG3 phase, that you have an initial conversation with the FDA, how you will be submitting a letter of intent after your UG3 phase. So again, I want to stress about the milestones here. So the milestones must be clear, quantifiable, and scientifically justified. Study planning and team coordination evidence, metrics for clinical enrollment, quality assurance parameters for data collection detection met, minimum sensitivity, specificity, accuracy, and precision achieved. So these should be all, the minimum sensitivity, specificity, accuracy, and precision should be all quantified, and it should be giving in the numbers, like what you will be achieving under the area under the curve or under the p-value, how you will be going to achieve. Successful completion of activities demonstrating the feasibility and recruitment retention for longitudinal studies. So these become so important because this will be later you will see in the slide that these all are review criteria also. And NIH has a much rigor and the transparency policy. So the emphasis on rigor and transparency in research according to the adherence to the NIH application instructions related to rigor and transparency, and the biological rationale based on rigorous and robust data, address the deficiencies in rigor and transparency. It will be a studies if there is any exist. Experimental design to minimize bias and ensure the validity. And now the intellectual property. So intellectual property is emphasizing the importance of developing an intellectual property strategy for digital health technology. And it is encouraged the IP arrangements with digital health tech manufacturers for algorithm and software related to digital biosignatures. And they should identify and collaborate with potential licensing partners and work with the digital technology transfer officials for timely patent filings and IP arrangements. And the document should limit it to 3 pages with an attachment saying IP strategy. And this is a must, and this will be also reviewed as because we are going to talking about using the devices, digital devices, and coming up with the algorithm and making the assessment. And so the IP protection is very much emphasized. So another emphasis is the public benefit by describing the IP landscape of measurement from digital health technology, addressing constraints on algorithm and software development, and including support letters from IP owners for non-owned DHT device or the IP use, and provide all the information on existing patents, filing dates, types, and status, along with links to related measurement algorithm and software. And you should discuss the future IP filing strategies if there's none exist, and infrastructure for practical application and IP management, and clarify IP sharing or management in multi-PDPI and institution scenarios. Consultation with the institution technology transfer is highly recommended. And then this should be attached as a IP strategy PDF. Another important is the data management and the sharing policy, because from January 2023, this is now mandatory and requiring an attachment of Form H. And most importantly, as this is an HEAL award, so in particular, this is you are expected to adhere to HEAL's data sharing requirements and follow the HEAL initiative data ecosystem guidelines, which involves choosing a HEAL compliant data respiratory, registering in the study with the HEAL platform, and submitting both data and metadata to the HEAL compliant respiratory. Furthermore, it is important to note that clinical research or the research involving the human subject should be include the following. So if it is a clinical trial, the clinical trial registration should be included. Utilization of core questionnaires provided by the HEAL clinical data elements program should be included, and the seeking permission for the use of copyrighted questionnaires, and also incorporating broad data sharing consent language in informed consent forms. So these are the scored criteria for the reviewers review what they are going to look at it. Actually, these are basically a snapshot of what we have seen earlier. So just to mention the importance of this and to understand that reviewers will be looking into this very carefully. So under the significance, your project focus should be clearly show how you are going to develop and validate digital endpoints and biosignatures. And the importance should address the need of these endpoints in the therapeutic development and the comparative effectiveness. And the value demonstration should showcase the potential of these endpoints again in the therapeutic development, behavior intervention, and clinical trial assessment. And as mentioned earlier, regulatory approval evidence assess how verification and validation studies support the regulatory approval for a software or open source analysis package for future clinical trials. Under the innovation, what the reviewers will be looking into it is innovative approach for developing and validating digital endpoints, biosignatures, and functional assessment for pain conditions, focus on improving objectivity, reliability, validity in pain research, enhance patient engagement is a key role, and this is a must in this RFA. Aim to achieve cost efficiency in pain management, striving for more effective and personalized pain management strategies. Investigators, specific for this RFA is the investigator expertise in the target biology, pain condition, clinical phenotype, bioinformatics will be looked at, as well as detection technology, design of digital endpoint, biosignatures, assessment, etc. And the investigators should be experienced in pain management, data analysis and interpretation, innovative digital for pain assessment, importance of statistical analysis in the validation endpoints, and involvement of patient representative or advocacy groups. So this should be included in your team too. And then there should be a clear definition of roles and responsibilities for collaboration clearly given, and that should be suitable for the team project's goal to be achieved. Approach, again, I'm going to quickly go through it instead of the time to give some question and answer time. So approach should be innovative to show how the digital endpoint, biosignatures, and functional assessment in pain are being proposed. Focus on improving objectivity, reliability, validity in pain studies, emphasis on enhancing pain engagement, achieving cost efficiency in pain research, and aim for more effective and personalized pain management strategies. Under the UG3 approach, selection of the digital measurement of pain assessment, verification and validation of measurement of algorithms, identification and evaluation of factors affecting measurement precision, evaluation of digital technology factors, and the description of study population and user-informed consent materials, and outreach and collaboration with underrepresented communities. UH3 phase, define measurable improvement and assess relevance, conduct prospective uh, therapeutic intervention studies, and submit a letter of intent to FDA for qualification. Under the team management plan, include preclinical scientists, AI, statistical expert, data scientists, technical experts, clinician, regulatory expert, and industry experts. Establish a multi-PI-led centralized research group, collaborative teamwork, and integrated review. as well as incorporate patient representative and advocacy group for input. And this is a repeat of milestone slide. So evidence of study plan and coordination, clinical enrollment, quality assurance for data collection, minimum sensitivity, specificity, accuracy, successful completion, digital performance assessment are met, evidence of feasibility and readiness for the UH3 phase. These all are being already covered, but I just want to make sure that you are getting the picture, that reviewers are getting the same information as it has been outlined for investigators also. So as a general advice, there should be an unmet need. The proposal should define what the current standards are and the performance metrics and how it is being improved. And the study design, the utility for decision making within the context of use proposed, and plan should be clearly described and appropriate for the context of use, and identify and address the source of variability. The study section for this RFA is with the NANDS study section. So this is an NANDS SEP, and reviewers come from a variety of expertise. So to evaluate the different parts of the proposals, and don't assume that they all know the state of the science within your field. So clearly explain in your proposal, your study approach, and how it will be achieved. And the general advice is read the RFA very carefully and schedule a call with the assigned program director prior to finalization submission to assure that your application is consistent with the goal and instruction in the NOFO. Provide a research plan, includes both UG3 and UH3 phase. And please remember that even though it is phase 1 and phase 2 mechanism, you should have a complete application outlining UG3 and UH3 phase, and provide all information requested, including human subject, data sharing, intellectual property, team management, etc. Provide a detailed budget and justification that is consistent with the research plan. And it's extremely important to contact the program director. And we are here. Please send us the email if you want to have a phone call to discuss this RFA further before even you start putting together. So this slide, or having this figure, serves as a very concise summary of what we have been covered in this last 35 minutes or so. It is taken out from a review in the Journal of Pharmacology, review authored by Cohen and others. This figure outlines nicely a structured approach for the development of clinically relevant endpoint. So the process begins with the first step of the endpoint selection, you can see here, and which involves two fundamental central questions. What do I want to measure, and how do I want to measure? And the second step here is the technical validation, and which involves determining whether the chosen technology is suitable for the intended purpose. So that is the questions you will be answering probably in the UG3 phase, along with whatever we have already discussed in detail. But eventually, if you can come up with answers for these questions, you will have a good proposal for your UG3 phase. And in the context of this RFA, these two steps could be in the UG3 phase. And then and you can see here, even they are outlined the no-go decision also. And if these both steps receive positive answers, then the project can progress to the UH3 phase. In the UH3 phase, the central question to be addressed are whether the candidate endpoint shows promise within a patient population and whether it adds additional value to the clinical trials. So this nicely summarized that we have already discussed so far. And then now NANDS biomarker program, we have three RFAs or PARs out there. That's for the development of biomarkers and the validation, analytical validation of biomarkers, and the clinical validation of biomarkers. And the NANDS program, biomarker program director is Dr. Carol Taylor-Burts. So you can approach her. And for the, if you want to apply through the NANDS biomarker program for any pain-related grants, you can approach me or you can approach Carol, and then we will be talking to you. And thank you for your time. And now I would be happy to take any questions.
Thanks, Ram. And for those that may have joined us later, please send your questions and answers into the chat section, and we will get to as many as we can. If we're not able to answer all of them, we will include them when we send out the presentation slides. I do have a couple now that are asking if the presentation will be sent out. Yes, the presentation and this recording will be sent out in just a couple of days. Okay, we have one from, it says, in a multi-PI project, can one PI be in UK and will it be funded by this call?
Yes, it will be funded. This HEAL RFAs allow international collaborations, and even the main PI could be an international PI.
Okay, next one is animal studies allowed during the UG3 phase.
No, it is not allowed. It's a clinical research. It's clearly said it's a clinical research.
Okay, next question. Does the funding support establishment of a reliable relationship? Okay, does the funding support establishment of a reliable relationship with clinical outcome?
That's a very good question. So as you must have seen in the slides that only the clinical outcome assessment will not be supported, but if that clinical outcome could lead to an endpoint, if you can uh, establish that relationship, that will be a novel endpoint that will be used in clinical trials, it will be allowed. Yeah, there's another question about one deadline plan to have. Archana. Right now, we have only one deadline, and we cannot say about anything whether there will be more deadline or not. That's why I was going over thoroughly showing you all. Usually we don't show the whole approach and then the review criteria, etc. But I just want to make sure that all the applications are coming in full and noting these points, because there's only one receipt date and there might not be a chance to submit as A1. What do you mean by lived experience must be in the team? So you need to have lived experience, mean like a patient advocacy groups. So patients who have been now advocating for their disease. So you need to have them in your team. You need to show evidence that you have been engaging with them, because this is a much needed one, especially the digital wearables are going to be in remotely. So we need to know how the patient feel, that they are comfortable having them, etc. So that's the reason that this is being asked to include them in a team, so that we know that you have made an effort, making an effort to talking to the patients before even you developing an endpoint, which using a device with the endpoint that patient are not going to support it or not comfortable using it. Is
Okay.
there a minimum number of years for the first phase? No, it depends on your project readiness. You could ask 1 year, but as you know, then you need to meet all the milestone within a year. Otherwise, your project won't be able to go to phase 2. So usually 2 to 3 years is the one we have seen in the application. But if you are confident enough that you have a project that you could be able to meet the milestones within a year and then move to the clinical part for the UH3 phase, that's fine with us. And it will be reviewed by the panel, and the panel should be convinced too that you have a project that you could be able to complete within a year, phase 1, and can move to phase 2.
Okay, we have another question, Ram. Is pain assessment broadly defined, or is it specific to pain severity?
It is broadly defined. Pain assessment is broadly defined. It's not the pain severity itself. That's why the patient outcome assessment have been, you have seen the 4 categories that could fall into any of the category.
Okay, is it better to patent the device or software before submitting the proposal?
Not necessarily, but you have the plan. If you are using a device or a software, then you need to, that's why that we are asking for that IP in 3-page PDF document. So you can outline your plans, how you will be able to achieve that. And most probably you need to show a concrete evidence that you have everything in place before moving to UH3 phase. So that could be a activity you could be able to do in your UG3 phase. You need not to wait until you have the final licensing or the agreement, but to clearly outline what are the plans that you are going to take in your UG3 phase to do that. So there's a question about, is a patient subject to pain report in scale 1 to 10 has to be included? Yeah, so that's another good question. And yeah, you can include it. These are scientifically based questions. And so you know that your patient selection and your endpoint selection will be justifiable, scientifically justifiable, and also it should be an improvement in the pain management as well as in the pain research.
Okay, Ram, you may be looking at the same one. Would the development of a wearable sensor that is proven to measure mechanistic pain endpoints be allowable under the RFA?
Yeah, it is allowable. So again, what is the pain condition and what's the endpoint you are proposing? It's all should be correlative, and it should be an advancement for the pain management. And probably you could be please give us a call, and then we could be able to discuss that. Then there's a general request from our scientific review officer who is here too, Dr. Abi Subidi. So she actually wanted me to convey to you all that she is looking for reviewers, and if you can participate, that would be great too if you have been reached to be reviewers. If you are not submitting in the application. All right, great. It seems there's no more question, and give a couple of minutes, Rakonda, and then we can wrap it up.
Sounds good. Okay, Ram, I have a direct question. It's pretty lengthy. Can we have multi-PIs as well? Can they take on various roles? Also, can they include foreign entities? I'll start with, that's the first half, so I'll let you answer that first.
Yeah, multi-PS can have different roles, and as we are saying, it should be justifiable, and then you need to clearly, justify the expertise for each role that you are being proposed them to be a PI, and foreign entities are allowed. Please read the RFA.
Okay, what about small business entities?
Yeah,
Are they eligible? Okay.
they're eligible.
Okay, are biometric measures of psychological digitized data involved in inflammatory responses considered biomarkers?
It's unit. It should be what context of use you are proposing. That's why it's very hard to answer right now. But if you could able to give us a call, we can schedule a call and then we can discuss, because we need to know your context of use and the context of interest.
Okay, we'll give it one more minute. And again, everyone's contact information will be included in the slides so that you're able to reach out to schedule a call.
Okay, great. Thank you all.
All right, thanks everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you, Rakanda. Bye now.
Welcome.